Hello and welcome to Secrets of Dynamic Midlife Women. My name is Anasuya Basil. I'm a midlife renewal health coach and the host of this interview series. Together, we are turning the wrong side of 40 into the most vibrant, sexy, and powerful time in your life. To help us on this journey, I'm so thrilled to introduce you to Khadija Yansane. Khadija is a spiritual business coach. She's the founder of Bloom Into You and the Client Creation Queen program. She really helps female entrepreneurs to bloom into the women they really want to be. Thank you so much, Khadija, for being here today.
Thank you so much, Anasuya. I'm thrilled to be having this conversation with you. And I so appreciate the work that you're doing and that you're, shedding light on this topic. I think it's so needed. And I love that you're doing it again.
Thank you. Thank you. What drew you to being a spiritual business coach?
Well, I never thought that I would be a business coach ever, Anasuya. I thought that I wanted to be a therapist, and I just had like an affinity. Like I love spirituality. I love growth. I love talking to people. I love sitting with people. I feel like it's part of my karma. Like I feel like I'm someone that people have always come to in my life. And when I found out about coaching, I felt incredibly inspired about thinking about human potential and how we can move through blocks. And the program that I did, they have a life coaching track. So I didn't know that there was, a business coaching option. And I want to tell you that, my father is a semi-retired economics professor. And when I was a student at Cal, I was majoring in women's studies. And my dad, in his African accent, would always say to me, "Darling, a girl like you should major in business." And Anasuya, I just thought that he didn't get me, that he just didn't understand who I was, because in my mind, business felt very corporate, very masculine, very not sensitive, like all the things that I thought were the opposite of me. So I really thought that he was trying to force me to do this career that I didn't want to do. I did not do it. I majored in women's studies, and, I was a life coach with no niche, but I have always been someone that has sat in women's circles. And at one point I started leading regular women's circles, and the participants in the group were asking me if I could help them get clients. And that happened over and over again. And then I just realized, I was like, wow, well, this is still women's empowerment. And because it's all the pieces about finding our voice, trusting in our skills and the value that we have to provide. And so that's how I became a business coach. But I feel like it's not just selling and packaging our services. The whole journey of putting yourself out there as an entrepreneur, I think, is absolutely an opportunity for those of us that take it, a spiritual journey to become closer to who we are and to fulfill our calling, which I imagine a lot of people watching this are more along the heart-centered spiritual line.
Well, I really appreciate that. I agree that, being entrepreneurial or having your own business, makes you face a lot of things so that you can get to a place where you want to be visible, instead of hide. I have to say, I love when you imitate your father's accent because, my dad was from Hungary, and he had a very strong Hungarian accent. And when I imitate him or with my sisters, I mean, I love the sound of it.
Yeah, I love hearing that you do that with your sisters, because I have a brother, and that's just how we communicate. So I'll call and be like, "How are you, my friend?" Because it's like, it's not my dad if it's not without the accent, it's another person. So much of who he is his accent,
Yeah, I know. My sisters and I will say, "What is the program?"
I
What
love
are you doing
it.
today? What is the program?
I love it. I love it. I love accents. And it's so funny because my dad has said, like, he doesn't have an accent. And it's like, it's true. I guess you don't have an accent, but
Yeah.
it's an accent to us.
Yes. Well, you know, midlife women are watching this program, and why would being an entrepreneur be appealing to a midlife woman, especially maybe they haven't been entrepreneurial or had their own business in the past? What is it? What's the connection with midlife and having women having their own business?
Yeah, well, I have had some midlife clients, or maybe they're retiring, or they have retired. Maybe their children are going off to college. Maybe they've ended a marriage, and like I feel like it's just a point of reinvention and thinking about what you want to do in the next phase of your life. And I feel like as you get older, that time becomes even more precious, and you care more about the legacy that you want to live, that you want to die knowing that, like, I really came here and I shared my gifts. And I think that entrepreneurship is a vehicle for our self-expression. And I find it to be an opportunity to house our gifts and to share them with others and to step into our leadership. Because maybe, I would say that if you're in midlife, that growing up as a woman, the way that you were taught you were supposed to be might be different now. So maybe at one point, being a mom and raising your children and being in the home was valued. And that's not to say that it's not still valued, but maybe you have things that you want to do that's just for you, that has nothing to do with caregiving, giving to others, but you have your own voice that you feel like you want to express, and your own strengths. Because just like you were saying, Anasuya, I think entrepreneurship presents so many unique opportunities to be visible, whereas maybe you've felt invisible because you were behind your relationship, or focusing on the kids, or focusing on something else other than what it is you truly want to do. And I think for a heart-centered an entrepreneur, that's starting and growing your business is a true expression of your heart and your passions.
I agree. I feel personally like having my own business is very self-expressive. Yeah. What do you see are the challenges that come up for women as they want to express themselves in their businesses?
Oh my God, there's an abundance of challenges. So for example, you and I are doing this interview. So even just turning on a camera to introduce yourself and say, hi, my name's Khadija Ansani, and this is what I do. Like, that can raise up so many insecurities about appearance, about, am I good enough? Am I smart enough? What are other people going to think? And so I feel like all of those thoughts come up to be healed, that we have an opportunity to walk through them and to release ourselves of perfectionism, trying to do it perfect, and stumbling along the way and getting better and better over time. So I would say visibility is definitely one. Sales, so discussing money and rates, having clear agreements, right? All of those, because coaching or healing, coaching, consulting, healing, guiding, those are all businesses that are around relationships with others, right? So it's a relationship that you want to participate in skillfully. So you have all these opportunities to learn how to make clear requests, ask for what you want, receive feedback, being in front of other people, because public speaking is the number one fear, right? So whether that's in front of a group, whether that's on camera, whether that's one-on-one, sharing with someone about your services. So there's so many places as a business owner that you get to face your own fears and self-doubts, but then you also have an opportunity to overcome them.
Yeah, it's true. And it does feel satisfying when you overcome them. Like, that's, I think, the part where you bloom into you. But how do you overcome them, Khadija? Like, what are a few top tricks or perspectives that you have?
Yeah. Well, one I would say is in terms of fear, like oftentimes people will feel like fear is a sign that I shouldn't be moving forward, that this is a sign that this isn't cut out for me. Whereas I feel like when you just even hold the awareness that anytime you step outside of your comfort zone and do something new, you might have the sensation or that we label as fear. And I feel like if we can begin to normalize that anytime we're taking courageous action in our lives and that we're choosing to take action, even though we might feel afraid, nervous, or shy, because then that builds confidence. Another thing is that it's really critical to get support and be around other people who are doing what you want to be doing. Like you and I met in an amazing group and mastermind, and like there's something so special about being around other people that have a similar goal to you. And maybe on some days you might feel weak, but you see Anasuya and you're like, wow, Anasuya did that. You know, maybe I can do that too. So it's pivotal, I think, to get support when you're taking big steps, courageous action in your life to put yourself out there. And then I think taking baby steps, right? So sometimes you don't want to take a step that's so shocking to your system that it feels difficult for you to recover, but starting in circles where you feel safe to stumble around, to make mistakes. And then when you do that, then you feel like you can take on a bigger stage. And so I think it's really important that we take baby steps. We have to crawl before we walk.
Right. Absolutely. So yeah, reframing that fear so that your body's not thinking you're in danger, but it's
Yeah.
like more like excitement.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is
Support.
before the baby steps. What was the one before the baby
I
steps?
was saying that it's critical to you have such a good memory. I was like, it's critical to have support.
Yes, the
Yeah, like
support.
you and I met in a mastermind, and then
Mhm.
it's important to be around either peers that are doing what you want to do or working with a guide, a coach, a facilitator, because when people can say to you that that's part of the process, honestly, then you feel like you trust that and you can be like, okay, I'm not doing it wrong. There isn't something uniquely wrong with me. They've been there before. So I think support is essential.
Support is really important. And, you know, doing that year-long mastermind program and having accountability partners, you know, what I learned that was surprised me was that I have to say it really felt so supportive, first of all, but it also made me realize that as women, we have a lot of other things going on in our life besides our business and our work
Yeah.
that are really important to us, our family, our relationships, you know, our homes, our, you know, so many things. And there's always something going on in them, like how to juggle all of that. And so maybe I'll ask you then, you're a midlife woman and you've got two beautiful little kids, and you're not at the midlife stage of empty nesting.
No.
Yeah, can you just share a little bit about what it's like being
Yeah, you're
one
right. So
little kids?
I have two small children. I have a 5-year-old and a soon to be 4-year-old this Thursday. So our household is incredibly busy, and we're at a place where our children still need us and need our attention. They can't babysit themselves. They still need to be entertained to a degree, and they rely on us heavily. And so it's definitely a constant juggling act of to start and grow your business and all the things that you want to do with your business, to managing your household, to taking care of kids and planning play dates. And I don't do it perfectly. And, you know, sometimes people ask me, they're like, Khadija, how do you do it? How do you do it? And part of it is that I'm so passionate about the work that I do. So I don't, it's not possible, at least now, for me to not do it. Like, it's just a part of my life. And I don't think that everyone feels that way. nor do you have to feel that way. I think that it's really important to give yourself permission to honor where you're at. So for some people, it might mean that child raising is the most important thing to you right now, and that's what you want to give 100% your time to. And if that's the case, like, give yourself permission to do that. I think that there's pressure both ways. There's pressure to be a full-time stay-at-home mom. There's also pressure to be outside of the home, to be working or to start and grow your business. So I think no matter what you're doing, women are facing some type of pressure. And like, if we can do our best to take that pressure off of ourselves and to reconnect to our own desire. And I have found, with different clients that, maybe in their mind, they think they need to be spending this amount of time on their business. That's unrealistic for all the things that they have going on in their lives. Maybe for them, for some person, it's 4 hours a week. Maybe for someone else, it's 2 hours a week. Maybe someone else has greater capacity. So I think it's really important to start with, like, what's your true desire? Is it actually yours, or is it based on expectations and what other people think of you? And that, like, if it is expectations, like, how can we take expectation off of our business, off of mothering, off of our relationship, and get present with what it is that we really want first? And then taking into consideration all the other things that we have going on, like, what would feel good, I mean, earlier when you were introducing this summit, I forgot how you said it, but like, having this be the most joyful, sexy,
Powerful.
What'd you say?
Powerful.
Powerful time, in your life. Like, I just feel like that's such a powerful question to ask you. Like, ask yourself, like, what would make this an incredibly powerful time in my life, or what would increase my joy factor around mothering or my business right now? Like, really doing that inquiry and getting the honest answer and making decisions and taking action from that place versus the supposed tos and have tos. And it's just making me think, Anasuya, is, so my kids are in 2 different schools, and I saw my father always in the PTA, and sometimes he was, president of the PTA. And so I feel like I have this thing that, like, I'm supposed to be holding a leadership role in my children's school. And like, if I'm not doing it, maybe I'm not being a good mother, right? And so last year, I was, people were coming up to me and saying, hey, Khadijah, do you want to apply for, it's like a membership, a board member or whatever. And so I put my name on the list, Anasuya, because I was feeling like I could do it. And like, when I got really honest with myself, I was like, wow, I feel really, really stretched. And I was feeling bad that I didn't really want to do it. Like, somehow I'm not being a good mom and I'm not giving my child the best shot, at their school. But I just got really honest with myself, and I'm still involved. But like, just like making those honest decisions, not because I have to, I'm supposed to, that's what I saw my dad doing, so I should do it too. And it's like, there was such a relief, and I went and I crossed my name off the list. And that's okay. Like, maybe, you might be watching this and you might be thinking, I want to, be the head of the PTA. And I think that's awesome. And I got honest with myself and said that, you know what, like, that's not what I actually want right now.
That sounds like, when you have a guide, you have a coach, they are like a sounding board for making those honest decisions, so that you're not just acting from some kind of subconscious should do, but really in touch with what gives you joy.
Absolutely. It's so true, honestly, because the main questions a great coach or guide asks is, like, the first one being like, what do you want? And helping your client get to the heart and core of what it is that they really want. What's standing in the way? Second, what's standing in the way of getting what they want? So like, what could be standing in the way is all these shoulds, all these expectations that other people have or that you have yourself. And then 3, Like, what are you going to do next to get you closer to what it is you truly, truly want? So true.
Yes. It's a great journey to have companionship, mirroring, guidance on. Yes. I wanted to ask you also about, you have a special focus on money, having
Mhm.
a good perspective on money, and you have sacred money archetypes.
Yeah.
Can you please explain that to us?
Yes. Well, I'm not a financial advisor or coach, but part of my personal development and business growth journey has been exploring my relationship to money. And I don't think that you can go like, business is about money. Being able to package your services, being able to sell your services, being able to earn, doing what you love, all of which I found incredibly challenging for me, which you don't think about it going in until you say, okay, I'm going to create a workshop and this is how much the workshop costs, or this is my package. And now I'm going to get on the phone and talk to someone about what it looks like to work with me. And so I use this sacred money tool. It's called the Sacred Money Archetypes Quiz, and it is 8 archetypes, and it highlights your 3 top archetypes, and it demonstrates your strength in around money. It also highlights the challenges and the shadow aspects of your archetype. And just by having that awareness, that conscious awareness, I have found it to be an incredibly useful tool to help people highlight, what's happening, like, and so that you can consciously, like, oh, I'm living out a pattern versus I'm choosing to do something different. And then just even when it comes to marketing, some archetypes might be more introverted, some archetypes might be more extroverted, and how you can find authentic ways to put yourself out there, to share your message. It's an incredibly fun tool, So some of the archetypes are like the nurturer, the maverick, um, the the ruler, the celebrity. And so, like, if we take the nurturer, for example, the nurturers tend to be very giving. And so, like, the strength of the strength of the nurturer is their generosity and how they love to give. And the shadow side is that sometimes it could go into martyrdom. So, like, they give at the expense of themselves. And sometimes robbing other people the opportunity to rely on their own resources and creativity. So one of the gifts or the things that the nurturer needs to learn is how to set boundaries. And so when it comes to money, maybe it might be someone who constantly feels like they need to lend people money, and then they create a codependent pattern with people, or maybe feeling like people can't afford their rates, so they'll cut the rates before people have even said that they can afford it. So taking care of, I see you nodding your head. So that's just one archetype. And you might not even know that you're doing that, but once you start reading more about, like, the nurturer, and then you learn, like, okay, like, what are other ways that I can support someone that don't require me to give them money? Maybe I can teach them how to make money, or yeah. So that's just one archetype, but I find it incredibly fascinating and a useful tool in getting to know people better and to work with them.
I can see how it would be really helpful to get out of the mind space that, like, everyone has the same, money is what it is, and
Yeah,
everyone has the same view, when in fact it's incredibly fluid and so many people have completely different relationships to it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I share one other type?
Yes.
So the accumulator, like, they illuminate appreciation and respect for money, and they, like, keep their numbers. A lot of them tend to be in positions like accounting, and one of the big fears for an accumulator is that they're going to run out of money and that they won't have enough. So sometimes an accumulator will talk as though they're running out of money, even though they actually do have savings, even though they actually do have investments, but their underlying fear is that, either they're going to have to depend on someone or they're going to run out. But the positive in that is that they have a respect and appreciation for money. And part of what they also need to learn is how to take risks. And so it's really, really fascinating to find out, like, so some people in their business, they might be really hard at work. And they started this business because they're very passionate about health, money, business, relationships. Yet now, because they're working all the time, they're no longer connected to that joy, to that fun. And so part of what they need to do is like, oh, wow, I started this business because it's the joy of my heart. And how do I connect to the fun of it again? So those are just a few archetypes, and hopefully that reveals a little bit how it can illuminate certain patterns for you.
It sounds really useful. Well, Khadija, can you describe your free gift that you're offering today?
Yes. Well, I have a class. It's called the Client Creation Masterclass. 3 secrets to getting paying clients, even if you're shy or nervous to put yourself out there. And oftentimes I talk to women who just what we were talking about, like it can feel fearful or scared to put yourself out there. Maybe you're comparing yourself to others. Maybe you're thinking like, well, I'm too old, I'm too young. Like there's just some reason why I can't put myself out there. So I'd love to offer that gift to you. You can find it at bloomintoyou.com/3 secrets. And I think that you'll find it incredibly valuable. And just that now's your time. Like, I feel like a lot of midlife women that I talk to, like, have actually said those words, like this feeling of like, now is their time to really say the things that they want to say, to really be who they feel like they truly are. And I agree that now is your time, and that it's normal to feel nervous and shy. And that's one of the things that has been helpful for me as I've gotten older, is that my relationship to those feelings. So rather than having it be like, oh, it's fear, it's like, oh, I'm connecting to my turn on, I'm connecting to that excitement. And, like we're connecting to all the people that are going to be watching this. So that's the gift.
That's a wonderful gift. And I would agree, like, I think the more you start doing work that's important to you, and then the more you offer it, in a way, it gets a little bit more scary when it means something to you.
Absolutely.
Like if you were selling widgets, it would be easier to feel dispassionate. But when something really means a lot to you, then other feelings get churned up. And it's so useful to have inspiration and guidance for that.
Absolutely.
Well, Khadija, it's been so delightful to speak with you. I know we could have a lot longer conversation, but I really wanted women to be introduced to your sort of gentle, kind, thoughtful, spiritual way of doing business.
Thank you so much, Anasuya. It's been so great to talk to you. And I so appreciate the work that you're doing. And I'm sending out big hearts to everyone.
Okay. Thank you so much, Khadija.
Thank you.